Hey, Matt. What's up, Jamie?
Hello, can you hear me?
Hello, there you are. Hi, Matt.
Hold on.
Crossing quality transmission. It's like a big rock wall in front of it. The tenant landlord got in a screaming match while I was there, and both guns on each other. I was standing right in the middle. So,
Can you guys hear us?
Yes,
Perfect. Okay, so you have everybody? 4 o'clock? Yeah, ready to start.
we're good.
Okay, I'd like to call this meeting to order. It's exactly 4 p.m. It's March 18th. This is a regular meeting, remote participation Zoom meeting. It's a public meeting being recorded for cable broadcast, internet posting on YouTube.
and it's like happening fast too.
Matt, you're gonna mute. All right, so if we can stand up for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Board member introduction.
Vincent Hebert, Board of Health member.
Thank you. I'm Tammy Mello. I am the clerk and acting chairman in the absence of Barbara Catavio. All right, so we're going to start with reports, announcements. We'll start with Matt Tanis, the health agent, if he's ready to go. Matt, you all set to go?
Sure.
Or do you need a minute?
Nope. I'm juggling multiple things here, so just bear with me.
Okay.
I don't have too much to report. I had a couple perks and plans and systems going in. I think that's about it. I do have the info regarding Pleasant Street, but I really just saw it pretty much yesterday, so it's going to take a little time for me to get through it, so I don't have anything really to report on that matter.
Okay. All right.
I don't want to jump ahead, but are we going to talk about that Pleasant Street piece, Tam?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's definitely on here. What we'll do is we'll have a report given by Liz, the office manager first, and then we'll move down to down the agenda and get to Pleasant Street. That's okay. Okay, super. Microphone.
All right, so I just wanted to remind the board that tonight is the budget meeting, 7 p.m. It would be held here with the selectmen. It's pretty quick. I don't know if there's an option for you to join on Zoom, but I can accompany Tammy tonight. We should be done by 7:15 as long as they're on schedule.
Okay.
Rabies vaccine clinic, just a reminder, April 12th, 9 to 12 at Bristol Aggie. It's open to all towns. There's a $15 fee. There's more information on the website, but let everybody know, spread the word, get it out there so, people can take advantage of it. Bulky Items Week, that is going to be held May 12th through the 16th. Ticket sales will start on April 7th. I generally like to give people a month to purchase tags. But after the rabies vaccine clinic, I think is when Tommy's gonna push the street sign out there and move it around to advertise the bulky items. Town trash bag vendor balances. I have a little Excel spreadsheet in your packet. It's right after the bulky items flyer. So I went through what the vendors owe us, and it's getting pretty high up there. The majority of it is Hannaford's. So I wanted to, with your blessing, start calling some of the vendors to tell them what they owe us and see if we can get some of this paid off. This will roll into the trash bag vendor agreement. Right now, our agreement was last edited or updated in probably like 1998. So it doesn't even have the right trash price bag. The bags aren't priced right. There is no, there's nothing for me to say, hey, you 30 days past due, you're going against your vendor agreement that you signed. So getting the vendor agreement edited and over to the selectmen so they can actually, because the Board of Health can't do contracts, that only comes from the selectmen. But if we get them, you know, something, they can review it and, you know, either approve it or fix it themselves, add whatever they see fit. But right now, I don't think we have anything to hold these vendors accountable saying you're late, you're supposed to pay this.
So is that something that could be implemented, or we make a recommendation to the Board of Selectmen to add?
I think it's, you make a recommendation to the Board of Selectmen. I will confirm, I'm not 100% sure, but I took the old one and just tweaked it a little bit. I don't know, Vinny, you're probably good with, you know, contracts and legal stuff, so I was
Yeah.
hoping you could take the rein on that one.
Yeah. if you
Sure.
don't, that would be
Yeah,
great.
so is this all the information that you have? If not, I'll get me whatever whatever you've got on it, send it to me and I'll look at it. But you know, looking at the invoices, I mean, Johnny's Market, 1,225, just right off the top, you know, from December. And that was the one that we had the issue with previously, right? And we're giving them a second chance.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's a payment schedule. I don't know if they've got 30 days.
I
to
think
pay.
he got mixed up with his invoices because he paid the January one first,
Okay,
which the January one was 9,000. So I'm glad he paid the January one first, but
Sounds like.
I think he just, yeah, he got his invoices mixed up.
How about Hannaford's looking at what they owe? So they still owe something. Is this correct? 2022?
Yeah. Yeah. I've been, so they put me through the runaround.
Almost 3 years old.
I know, I have to go into their portal, I have to submit a ticket, and then it's a big process, and we keep going back and forth. They tell me this check was used for that. The way it was tracked before wasn't, the previous office manager would just take the payment and put it towards the oldest invoice, which when it came down to trying to rectify the account, that didn't work out so well, because I said, this invoice is still open, and they were like, we paid you with this check for that, so there wasn't invoice numbers used, so they just went by dates. So since I started adding invoice numbers to all the receipts, so we could balance out the account. So I'm still trying to figure out what check was used for that payment, and what other one did I miss? Because if I applied the payment they said they gave me to something else, now that ticket, that receipt is still unpaid. So it's been an ongoing thing.
Liz, can I ask, I mean, are you responsible for accounts payable for these past due amounts, or would that be through like the town accountant?
I think, you know, once we're not getting anything from them, this has happened multiple times already, Vinny. They pay up and then they slowly stop sending checks. The balance gets big. We start, you know, telling them, hey, we're gonna cut you off. You know, it takes months, but they finally pay up, and then they slowly start not sending in checks again. So it seems to be like a vicious cycle with them.
That's called business, yeah. That's.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, so I'll, if you could send me like one of the contracts, if you could send me anything else you have on this. You know, again, I would have thought that, and again, I could be wrong, that chasing these amounts would come through the town, you know, through, you know, the accountant, or if there's accounts payable, if they do that. If not, and that's your responsibility, Liz, sure, I get that. But we should figure that out first. But certainly, I mean, you know, looking at these just on the surface, it's like, you know, doesn't seem right to me.
Yeah, they're quite behind, you know, the other ones, this is how it usually has been, and that's why the vendor agreement's gonna be helpful. They would pay when they place the next order. So if they didn't sell the case for 3 months, they weren't paying for 3 months.
Yeah,
So when you see two invoices owed, you know they fell out of sequence. Like they're now 2 invoices behind, when normally it's like, I'll pay you for the last one, bring me this one.
Yeah.
But it all depends on how long it takes them to sell that case. So we really need to narrow down this vendor agreement and hold it to them.
Yeah.
You know, if that's the way you want to keep it going, then that's fine, but
No,
there should be a,
I think you're right about that. We really need to.
yeah,
Draw in the reins here. This is a lot of money just in Hannaford. It's 47,400.
yeah.
Yeah, and then if you,
To chase them around and figure out, you know, the
Yeah.
whole invoice thing, I think that's just, I mean, you're probably spending a good amount of time just on this.
Yeah, this morning I just wanted to make sure my numbers were right, so I did it twice, and it does, you know, I gotta go through all my turn-ins, make sure I didn't miss anything, on the calculations, make sure, you know, everything adds up on the Excel spreadsheet. So, yeah,
just, let's look at the Hannaford's one. If you look at, you know, February 5th, February 14th, February 28th, where they paid the 28th, but you didn't pay the 2 previous. And then you go back to like July of 2024. So yeah, this is not right. This we, you know, this goes back to one of those things. It's like we know that the trash bag program is always is in a deficit no matter what, even with the price increase. So, you know, any of these monies that we can get, you know, it's extremely important that, you know, to keep the program in balance and, you know, not getting in arrears and going further in arrears. So
the unfortunate part of it is Hannaford's is the biggest vendor of our bags.
Yeah.
So they're the only ones that will let you purchase bags with debit card. Everybody else is cash or check. And it's convenient. People are doing their grocery shopping, they're gonna pick up bags. So they're the
Yeah.
biggest vendor of our bags. So it, you know, to stop, it's gonna cause a little bit of friction, you know, people are.
We don't want to necessarily stop, but still need to be compensated for what we're giving them. And
Yeah.
to say that we
Yeah.
still have an invoice from 2022, almost 3 years.
Yeah.
Exactly.
6/28/24, it's almost a year.
Yeah, and they don't make it easy to get a hold of somebody. It's like, I gotta put in a ticket, and then I gotta wait for them to investigate it, and then, you know, they're sending me back payments they made, and I'm verifying it against my spreadsheet, so it's taken too long, and if they weren't 9 invoices behind, I mean, if we were chasing them for 2, it wouldn't be so bad, but they
Yeah.
have a lot of payments missing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I misspoke too. It'd be accounts receivable on our end and accounts payable on their end. So it would have to be someone in their accounts payable group that would be in charge of the account for the town.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I have a contact. I'm also been aware of other cities and towns that use them and having the same problem, so it's not just Dayton.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a big company. That's part of the thing. All right, we can, like I said, if you could just send me, all I need is to look at is like one contract and any other information you have on this, Liz, and I'll look it over and I'll get back to you.
I'll send you the old one, and then the revised one that I did probably last year is in the packet, so I'll just give you what I have so you can take what you need from whatever contract.
Okay, sounds good.
So would it be fair to say what we should do is table this agreement for the next meeting? Vinny will then go through the agreement, the 2 agreements, see what the differences is, maybe make any potential revisions, and at the next meeting, we can go ahead and make a recommendation to give it over to the town selectmen at that point. So I think this is a good start. Like Liz said, you know, revising the agreement, just so we have something to stand on here.
Yeah.
And not chase, I mean, this is just crazy, trying to chase $47,000.
Yeah, and in total, with everybody, we're $73,000.
Right, yeah, you're right, if you total everything up, but just Hannaford's alone is the 47.
47.
4.
Yeah.
And a good majority of your time is probably being spent on trying to organize this, and it's just a waste of time because there's so many other things that you could be doing, so.
Yeah.
Can I get a motion to table this until the next meeting? Or
Yeah,
for revisions?
Motion to table past due amounts for the trash bag program.
I step down and second that motion. Can I get a vote?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Okay,
All right, so the other thing I had a request for was actually Hannaford's. They wanted a notice, like an official notice of what the bags went up to. They wanted to know, what their cost versus retail. So I sent them a letter and I put it in your packet just so you could take a look at it. If it's something that you want me to send to all the vendors, so there's no confusion. I believe everybody knows about the price increase, but I guess just to.
Liz, where is that?
It's the one that I signed. It should be right after trash bags.
Yeah, the pay as you throw program dated
Ah.
February 1st.
Right after
Right after the expense.
Oh, can I have a look at that? I'm sorry, I couldn't, oh, thank you, I couldn't see it. I got it.
You know what, Liz, I would say if Tammy agrees, is send it to all of them. It's not gonna hurt anything.
I agree with that.
Yeah, and that way there's, we gave them an official notice and not just a verbal over the phone. That, I don't want it to come back and say, hey, I've been selling them for the old price, nobody told me. And then it comes back on us, but I think when vendors saw the price increase on their invoice, they realized, hey, the prices went up.
Right.
But to send it out would probably just be,
I think that's a great idea, absolutely. So can I get a motion on sending out the trash bag letter to all the vendors?
Letter to send out the trash bag letter to all vendors.
Yeah, I step down and second that motion. Can I get a vote?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
all right, so the next thing I had in your packet was the list of deceased birds that people have been calling me and telling me about. I spoke to Stacy and she said she only needed to know if there was 3 or more dead birds in one area. But I thought it would be good to just keep track, because what if they're in 3 different yards? You know what I mean?
Sure.
So I did the first 3 and they're really kind of close to each other. Wheeler and Williams. And then I didn't know what Sesame Street was, but it's not that far off from Wheeler. So
Yeah, that's
I'll
right
just-
down the street. That's right on from Maple Street.
I'll just keep track of what's coming down, what's coming in, and I'll send it down to Stacy, as I get new updates. But there wasn't many. There was only, 1 or 2 reported.
Okay, I think that's a good idea. All right, did we miss anything else?
I just got an email today. I just want to advise everyone at home, there's a health fair at Lincoln Village on April 29th from 1 to 3. It's being put on by Charm Medical. The Council on Aging, Annabella Powell, sent it to me, and she asked if the town nurse, which we'd have to ask the regional nurse, or the Dayton Board of Health was interested in setting up a table. I told them I was meeting with you today, so I would get back to her. We do have some, I guess they call it swag, left from when Nicole Mello was here. The little gift bags and flashlights and hand sanitizers. So we did want to set up a table. We have a tablecloth that we can set up and a few things to give away. So it's up to the board if anybody wants to attend and represent Dayton Health Department.
Okay, now is that something that you would be doing, Melissa?
So I can, let me go to a microphone. Can I share with you?
Yeah, why not?
do you want to start by introducing yourself?
Yes, so good afternoon. My name is Melissa Silverman. I am the Regional Public Health Nurse for the Shared Service Agreement, Northern Bristol County Public Health Alliance. So I had actually been informed of the health fair. Bella had extended the invitation to me. So I contacted the Shared Service Coordinator this afternoon just to see in terms of Alliance education materials I could also present, but I am interested in attending. As of right now, because I'm still working on my screening forms to do health screenings for the town of Dayton, it probably would be more of a introductory part for me at this moment in time, but you know, it is the end of April, so by then things could have changed where I could offer additional things maybe, as long as I have their permission.
The host. Was it Charm Medical?
So I would assume, yeah, I would have to get in touch with the Charm Medical host, and also check, you know, with the town of Dayton, if that's something that if I could do more outreach. Right now, it would just be me introducing myself to the town.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I think it sounds great because right now we don't have a nurse.
Yeah.
We're so happy to have you. We're so happy to see you.
Yeah, no, thank you. I appreciate it. You're welcome. And, you know, I've been doing a little bit of introductory meetings with, I mean, it's been mostly Board of Health related, but I actually met the Chief of Police yesterday. You know, I have some great ideas through talking to the Council of Aging.
That's great.
So yeah, there's a lot
That's
of
needed.
exciting ideas that I would be happy to support the town
Sure.
as best as I
I
can.
love it.
I can put together the little goodie bags and then get you the tablecloth and we'll go from there.
Right now, do we need to make a motion on that?
I don't think
I
so.
don't think so.
No.
Just wanted to double check.
Yeah, I don't
Okay.
think so.
Vinnie, I mean, I think it's a win-win. It's a great thing that if Melissa represents the town of Dayton at the Lincoln Village.
100%, I agree. Yep.
We don't have the town nurse, so that would be wonderful. And we
Yeah.
do, like they said, we have those little flashlights and other little swag, as they call it, to hand out, so.
Give him the pen, right? So, yeah. Right.
Thank you so much, Melissa.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so Stacy, you're got perfect timing. All right, so we're gonna move on. We're still in old business. So we'd like to discuss 2651 Pleasant Street and an update. So Ellie, would you like to go first?
Yes, I'm just here
Do you want to go to the podium? Sorry, making you go on the hot seat over there, or the hot stand.
Ellie Boudreau, 209 Beach Street. I'm here for an update because we were here last fall for all the animals that are on Pleasant Street. And there's other places in this town also that I've learned about that it's in the same situation. So I want to know what the town's going to do about it.
Okay, so I have gone back, I had just started, and when the first time you came, I believe it was August. Barbara unfortunately is not here right now. So I have taken over her position temporarily until she comes back. So reviewing, it looks like Barbara had mentioned that, and I'm gonna have the animal control officer come up and give her her spiel on this, but that she had mentioned to go to DEP, that there was really nothing that the town could do. However, having a health agent now changes things, so we're gonna be talking with Matt, he's here on Zoom. So I think we're gonna look at the situation again and reevaluate, and at that point, we can figure out what we're doing. So we're kind of regrouping a little bit. There's been some changes on the board with members and the agent. So I think we need to start there, if that makes sense to you. Do you have any questions?
How quickly summer's coming, it's gonna get
Right.
down there.
I mean, I think that we can resolve this or give you an answer as far as a resolution pretty quickly. It's just a matter of, speaking with Matt talking with the animal control officer and figuring out where we are and what can be done as the Board of Health and what can be done by the town of Dayton.
How about restricting the laws on how many animals you can have on property?
Well, that's a little more difficult, but I'm gonna let the animal control officer, talk about that, because that's not my area of specialty. That would be the animal control officer telling us exactly, what can be done and how difficult something can be. So I'm gonna turn it over to her in just a second, unless you have another question.
No, I just want something done because
No, understandable.
it's hard to breathe down there in the summertime. It's
Sure.
tough.
Sure. Okay, thank you, Ellie.
Thank you.
Officer Ferry, if you'd like to come up and give us an update or some guidance, and then we'll have Matt, who's on Zoom, also let us know, speaking from the health agent's perspective.
I did go by there today. I go by there daily, but I mean, I did go by the whole property today. It is flooded again, but we did just get a whole bunch of rain. Restricting animals on property in Dayton, I don't see that happening anytime soon. Few things, we are a right to farm community, and two, if you do that, you're going to restrict the farms that people don't seem to think are a problem. It wouldn't be something that I would stand for. And the state does not have any true guidelines on how many animals anybody can have on their property. They do not say, well, if you have a horse, it has to have this much acreage, or if you have this, it has this much acreage. They give you suggestions, but nothing that says definite, this is what needs to be done. We have put regulations in order. Board of Health has them. Chickens, what we basically went with chickens and that kind of stuff was they had to keep them in their own yard. They could free range as long as they stayed in their own yard, and they need to have right housing and right food, and they had to be healthy. Anytime I've gone to that property, that's all been the standard. I've been there with the MSPCA, I've been there with ARL, I have been there yearly for myself because the state requires me to go there. And never have I ever seen any sick animals or anything like that. They've always had proper housing. Any kind of little things that we had, they fixed within a week. So I would have a hard time standing for a bylaw or regulation that restricts animals on people's property.
What about the right to breathe for the neighbors? The air quality.
Well, if you say that, anybody that lives next to a dairy farm could say the same thing.
Correct.
But we have the right to have dairy farms in this town.
But they need the acreage. They need the acreage to be able to raise their animals the proper way and take care of them.
And they do have what they need, especially for birds. Birds don't require that much, they don't require acreage. Most of them, if you look at chickens, they require so many feet per feet. And that's all the state says they have to have.
So Stacy, since you've been there.
Yep.
And what I was reading over the reports and the documents that Liz sent out. Thank you, Liz. And it seems to be like there's this water that gets stagnant and just sits there, in the summertime, and that's the issue, right? Am I right, Ellie?
It's the stink in the summertime.
Right.
It really is. It's the stink. When my daughter was pregnant, she went down there and she's like, I gotta leave. I'm gonna throw up if I don't leave because of the way the air was smelling.
Sure.
It gets that bad in the summertime. And you shouldn't have people living like that. If all the neighbors around them are smelling the same thing.
Mm-hmm. And that is, it's inconsiderate, but it's not, it's not unlawful. But
you've had children with health issues because of it. And it was determined by a doctor. That's in your notes somewhere. That it was causing somebody's child to get sick and a doctor ruled it environmental.
Okay. So
that's an issue.
So those are some of the things that, certainly that we can look into. But again, from what I was reading in the reports, it was more of that standing water and Stacy, am I right in that? That is like where the smell and the issue is is it a pond? Is it in a driveway? I mean, where is this?
No, it's their property behind them, and when it rains a lot, it gets flooded. And it's wetland, so it doesn't drain properly. There was something, I believe it's in the notes, of trying to mitigate that. But the property owners are very stuck on, if you're gonna do it, I want it dry. They want it dry back there, just as much as we want it dry back there.
So then why
But
would
we
they?
can't mitigate it enough to make it dry all the time.
Right, but we could mitigate it to make it perhaps flow better.
Flow
you know.
better, but there'll still be standing water there. It was proven. That's why, you know, the town did, I think it's all in the town did go to get something to do that. And
I read
mitigate the
that.
water across the street. But it would never be dry back there, no matter what they do.
Right, it's wetlands. I mean, Dayton's wetlands. The whole
Right.
town of Dayton is wetlands, right?
Right, and if they didn't have their own geese and stuff there, I went by today, there was wild mallard ducks and stuff like that on the property. Sometimes I see Canadian geese in with their geese. There'll always be animals, especially because you're on the river, going to do whatever they want to do in that water.
So if this
Not
is,
100 of them, not 100 of them.
And I
She
understand-
claims she's had 100 animals on her property.
I've never counted 100, I'm just saying, if she says that, there is, let me finish. If she says that, that's fine. I've never seen 100 there. I go there at least once yearly, and I go by there all the time. I drove by there and took pictures today because there was a lot of water, because it rained yesterday. She has, after many times, made sure her geese and stuff are corralled. She does have ornamental animals, peacocks, chickens, and that kind of stuff that she has back there. Last time I was there, she didn't have rabbits. Sometimes she has rabbits. Does she use the birds, not the ornamental birds, but eggs and stuff like that for herself? Yes, I'm sure she does.
so if the drain that the town had, so a first question would be, why didn't the homeowners want that drain in? They said no to it.
They did say no, and their thing was it would still be wet, so why even do it? It would
Okay,
still be wet, so why dig up their property and everything to do it if they can't make it dry? I'm not saying it's right, because for me, I would have done it, but that's me. They had the right to say no. For whatever reasons, they said no. And I don't know, I think we have to reapply for that. I think that ran out doing that, if I read it correctly, but that's not my department, so I don't know.
Stacey,
So-
where is that through? I would have to, I didn't have access to all the records today, so I read up everything, but where would that be through?
I want to say Concom
Okay,
had put in a plan to DEP, I want to say.
okay,
You may ask the highway superintendent, he may know,
okay,
because he did talk on it
okay.
at some point.
And I wonder if they did do it, even though it wouldn't completely dry it out, would it make it better?
I don't think so. You're still gonna have the smell. You're still gonna, and in the summer, it does dry out. I mean, when we have like 2 inches of rain, like we just basically got,
We had some pretty heavy rain.
Right.
I think it was,
I mean-
almost 24 hours, so.
so it was up a little more than I've seen it recently. But during the summer, it does dry out
Okay,
because we don't have as much rain. I'm sure there's a smell, but there's a smell on every farm, no matter how much you want to make sure that it doesn't. There is.
right, yeah, sure.
So would this be something along the lines, I mean, is this runoff that is really causing this? Or, I mean, or is it just sitting there?
It's just sitting there.
I know that Matt is gonna look into this further. I don't know, Matt, if Matt's got any comments on that.
I was just about to ask Matt if you'd like to talk about it.
if he's still on.
Cliff is on too, so. Cliff has-
He was.
That's a
Cliff-
great idea. Matt and Cliff could give some information. Matt, you want to?
Without really looking into everything yet, like I said, I was just advised of this yesterday, so, and I know there's a very lengthy history behind all this. I think Stacy, the animal control officer there, has, if there's a issue with the number of animals, then, that falls on animal control. Certainly come summertime, nuisance issues can be looked into, but it's a hard spot when you are next to wetlands. Wetlands do have odors they give off of. Any drainage issues that are to be addressed have to go through conservation. Nuisance issues in general, including odors and air quality, is very difficult to address. I've dealt with it many, many, many times. It's not a quick fix. It has to be documented over a period of time. You have to be able to pinpoint an exact source and be 100% sure, because if it goes to court, which this probably would, a judge is going to immediately say, how do you know for 100% certain that this is the root cause? So it's something that can be looked into on a nuisance end, but it's not going to be addressed tomorrow. It is a lengthy process. So I will look into it, but it's not an overnight fix.
Mhm. So
And that's fair.
And with Dayton being a right to farm community, that's makes things more difficult to enforce when it comes to animals. So,
it's certainly something, I mean, we don't want it to go to court. I mean, for all the other reasons, but besides that, cost of doing that, and hopefully we could come to some equitable solution. We have to wait on like what you think, Matt, and I guess we could go from there. So I mean, what I'm trying to think about is like what we could do if there's anything that could be done in the short term, except, hope that there's no rain. That would be able to help out Ellie and the neighbors. The property owners seem reasonable. I mean, Tammy, I don't know what your thoughts are on that point of things.
I definitely agree. Stacy's telling us there's no violations. If there was something that she wanted to see a change, she's telling them, and they're immediately making those changes. So the thing that, I've experienced in law enforcement in the past is, especially investigating animal crimes, sometimes, people's, the way they homestead, the way they take care of their animals isn't necessarily a way that somebody else would take care of the animals. But if it falls within the law and there's no violations, or there's nothing, against the animal crime law, then, there's really not much we can do about that. I'll give an example. Sometimes people, their idea of shelter for an animal would be, a little shed kind of. It's not the prettiest thing, but it's shelter. So it may not be something that I would do for my animal. I may go out and buy a brand new, $15,000 shed for my particular animal. But just a little example. But as long as they're not going against or doing anything that's against the law, it's so difficult. And I understand, living near there, I can understand her frustration. But sometimes we experience things that we really can't do much about because it's not breaking anything. And it's, it's just. People are living in the way they're taking care of their animals or the animals that they have.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine that, with Ellie saying like the smell is unbearable where she is, for them being right on the property, it must be totally unbearable. So I don't understand why, something couldn't be done one way or the other. I don't know if it is the DEP, if it is something that the state might be able to do. Maybe we wait on Matt on that. He's saying that it's a lengthy process, but I understand Ellie's frustration as well. I'd want it fixed tomorrow, before, the bad, the heat comes up and really starts smelling. So I don't know at this point, like what we can do. Stacy's saying everything is up to snuff. There's no violations, nothing like that.
What
You
about
know-
the laws in a populated area? Because
I'm
that's.
sorry,
pretty
what?
What about the laws, having that many animals in a populated area? Can't you do anything with the laws about that? Because there's a lot of people down there.
Yeah,
Well, as Officer Ferry had stated, it's a right to farm community, so there's really no number.
But can't you change the laws requiring a certain amount of space with the population around them? Because of health issues also.
Yeah.
It
wouldn't be us who changed
The town would have to vote for it.
Right, can't we get it to a vote?
So,
Anybody can write their own bylaw. If I'm very honest, there's a lot of farmers in town that aren't gonna let that go because they want to have their right to have their animals on their property. And I mean, we have dairy farms in this town that come summertime, I used to live next to one, they smell. But I knew where I was, so it happens and you deal with it. It does get, I'm not gonna say, it doesn't get raunchy in the summer, when it gets humid.
I got calls from somebody on Shop's Lot, first 3 months I was, it was, they call.
Yep.
and it sounds like this particular property, it's more so when it's wet with rain.
Well, I think it's more in the summer
Yeah.
than it is, I mean,
Right.
yes, there's a lot of stuff there when it rains and everything like that, but I think when it dries up, just like Bristol Aggie, if you're standing outside now at a certain day, you can smell Bristol Aggie, because not only they're moving manure to do fields and stuff, it's hot and humid, or it's humid, or it's hotter than we've noticed.
Already started smelling it.
Right, that's what I'm saying,
Who
so,
do we have to contact to maybe offer them the drainage option again?
So it sounds like,
it would have to be Concom,
I don't know.
because I believe, because it is wetlands, that's all has to be done a certain way, and the pipe has to go through. But they have the right to say no, because it's their property. Right.
I think, what if we go to conservation, we try to do something, Matt's gonna look into this. It only helps not only the neighbors, but it also helps the owner as well, so if we could find something, or like maybe it might even be at a state level, I don't know. But with Stacy saying they're not in any violation, there's nothing that she can do, we can do on that end of things. But if we could even, maybe it's something, Tam, that we even like reach out to the homeowner and discuss with them, or Matt discusses with them and says, hey, this is what happened. We want to help you with this, right? We're not trying to put you out of business. We're not trying to make you pay a fine. We're not trying to crack down on you. Your neighbors are complaining, and this would only be is good for you as well. It's got to be a health issue on their property, and let us help you. Let us see what we can do to help you, and then solve it for everyone. And I don't think that it's a one size fits all type of a solution. It just, like I said, they're not in violation. It's not a criminal complaint. You can't go to the police. But it might be something that if the water quality is really bad, and it is something that is causing a health problem, that maybe the state might be able to do something with. That's my kind of 10,000-foot view of the whole thing. But I think we need to really wait for what Matt comes back with.
Sure.
And then we can investigate and go further. Ally, I'm sorry, I wish we had a solution for you tonight, but it's just not that simple.
I just wanted to see, I believe that Cliff is on here. Cliff, are you still here?
I don't see him on. I think he
No,
left.
okay, he may have left. I was just gonna ask if he wanted to say anything. But I do think that that's a good idea. We'll wait for Matt to do a little more homework on this, and let's maybe explore some other options. And
Yeah,
Go
I
for
can,
it.
I'll try to do a little research to see if there's anything else in the state that has come up that is comparable to this. I don't know if there might be a public record of that. And to see what that solution might have been, I could, perhaps even reach out to, maybe another conservation committee in another town, or even the state, that would have some guidance as to like what could be done. Because it would to me, it's seriously a health concern if that water is sitting there and it's that stagnated. And I just don't know. I don't have an answer. We don't have an answer.
It's a difficult one, and I think it's one that we just have to look into, other options and see if we
Yeah.
can get some assistance.
Yeah.
It's, like we
But
said, there's no violations. And we're just trying to, make everybody happy.
Yeah, and I think too, it's gone on for too long. It needs a resolution, and we'll just have to figure out what that path may be. I don't believe changing the bylaws is the way to go. It's not gonna
I
fly.
agree.
There's no way that the people in the town would vote for a change in the bylaws, and that's got nothing to do with us, Ellie. That's the town. But we will, we'll do what we can, Tammy, right? I'll look into it,
Sure.
see what I can find. I'll share it with everyone. Get it to Liz, and then Liz could get it to you, Ellie, and let you know like where we're at in the process. But first thing I think is wait for Matt, see what he comes back with, and then on my end of things, I'll look into, what other resolutions has the other towns or the state done to rectify something like this.
Sure.
I understand the frustration. I totally agree.
Do you have anything else?
Thank you for your help.
Yeah, so we'll wait to see what Matt comes up with. We'll keep searching, and maybe there's something that we can possibly come up with to help everybody. I hope you understand it is a difficult situation when, there's nothing being violated. And I understand what you're saying, but sometimes it's difficult to live with the smell. I do understand that, so I'm not brushing that off. But, in order to proceed with doing something, sometimes it's difficult not having, when you can say somebody is violating this particular ordinance or this particular law, it's a little bit easier. But when they're not violating anything, it's a little more difficult. But we'll see what we can come up with for sure, and we'll definitely be in touch with you. And then
I'm not the only one. I have people stopping and asking, hey, how's it going with the Board of Health and stuff,
Sure.
Because, they've all got lives too, and they're busy working and stuff like that, but it's kind of like I'm a spokesman now. 'Cause
I was
they
just gonna
stop
say, it
and-
sounds like they made you the spokesperson. Pleasant Street.
Remember over here, sure you go.
So, Ellie,
Alright,
Ellie, does that address some of your concerns at least, at this point?
Did it address any of your concerns?
I just want to make sure that it is being looked at. Because that amount of birds on that property for their own personal use, they are not commercial, and for their own personal use, who needs 100 ducks? They're a family of 3.
Well,
I don't
again,
know.
You're gonna be eating duck breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
but again, that's not for us to say why somebody has the animals that they have. They're allowed to have them because it's a right to farm community. So we can't say, why do you have this many of whatever?
Yeah.
Because it's allowed to have
Something
them.
needs to change then, because
Right, but that,
You make it-
remember what I said, it's your
all the
perception.
residents have rights too, to live in
They
a clean,
do.
and healthy environment.
They do, but they have the right to have the ducks that they have. So we can't tell them that they can't have
Correct.
X amount of ducks.
But as residents around them, we have a right to live in a clean and healthy environment.
You're
And
absolutely.
the town
You
is not
do.
doing anything about that.
Well,
They're
that's
not
not,
protecting us too, they're protecting them.
Ellen,
not
that's
us.
not necessarily true. 'cause
No, that's not true. That's not true.
We're both new to the Board of Health, being a member. So actually Vinny wasn't even a member when you came in the first time in August. And that was actually, I believe, my first meeting. It was my first meeting, so.
This has been going on for like 10 years now.
Yeah, we did.
These neighbors have been
notice that with the
tolerating
amount
this
of paperwork.
situation for 10 years.
So like we said, before you say we're not doing anything, we just told you that the health agent is gonna look into it. We're gonna look at different areas of maybe going to Concom and actually asking again if anything can be done with drainage. So
Okay.
we're willing to do that, but
And I'm willing to wait. How many months you need? Do you
it's
need
hard to
months?
say. I wish
But I'm
I
coming back.
had a crystal ball in front of me where I can give you an exact date. We don't know.
So I'll be back in a couple of months to get
That's
another
fine.
update.
You can come as many times as you
Okay.
want. We'd love to have you.
I will tell you the last nuisance issue I dealt with was a lot more straightforward regarding regulations than this. And it took over a year and ended up in court and it was dismissed by the judge. So I've said it is not a quick process. It needs to be done the right way. And the right way, unfortunately, when it comes to nuisance complaints, takes a long time of documentation. So it will be addressed. It's gone on for 10 years. I just took over as health agent. I have to start over. I don't know what was done in the past, but I have a process that I have to follow. It will be looked into, it will be addressed, but it will not be done and fixed tomorrow. It's simple as that. Unfortunately, it's the way the state regulations when it comes to nuisances are written, and there's a process that has to be followed.
Ellie, I'd recommend just track everything, write everything down, have.
And then
I understand that, but we have, people without animals have rights too. Just remember
Sure.
that too.
Look
in-
at
but-
Right, so basically you both have rights.
That's right.
So you have rights as a resident of the town of Dayton, and your neighbor who owns the ducks has a right to own her animals.
That's right.
So being fair. So like we said, we're gonna continue looking into it. If you wanna come back in 2 months, that's fine. We'd love to have you anytime you wanna come in.
But-
We have a process that we have to go by. So
Yeah, that's fine.
we can't unfortunately wave the magic wand and make everything right. We wish it could be, so perfect like that, but we'll do it.
Also, in parallel to like what Matt's doing is I'm going to do some research on my end as well. And you're right. I mean, you have your rights as well. I wouldn't want to go out there with my grandchildren and have that smell out there. But on the other hand, those people are not in violation. There's nothing that we can do in that way to say, hey, you're in violation. You need to take care of this. They're not. You heard Stacy. Stacy's very, very good. But we're going to try to do and resolve this for you. We'll do it as we're going to try. We're both relatively new here on the board. Matt's new, but he's got a depth of experience. Tammy is a retired police officer. She knows all the laws. And we'll do things in parallel to count out a resolution for everyone. Liz will be your contact point. Everything goes through Liz, right? It's not going to be a hodgepodge of, oh, I have to get in touch with Matt, or oh, I have to get in touch with Tammy. It's going to go, everything we're going to do is we're going to feed it through Liz, and then Liz can feed and update you. And you can call the board anytime that you want if you think that we're not responding to you in a fair amount of time, and we can give you an update. And we can say, hey, this is where this is at. This is what we're looking into. This is what we discovered. If Matt's with his dearth of experience, if he's saying that it's a year, that's going to court and you lose. So that's not really the way to do it. To me, and I think Tammy's on board with me as well, we're pretty much like-minded in the way that we think is that, wouldn't it be nice to reach out to the owner of that property? I mean, they already know that it's an issue, but we're willing to help them. The town is willing to help them so that their neighbors are happy. Wouldn't you like happy neighbors rather than angry neighbors? And see what we can do. And hopefully that they'll be reasonable. Say we do find something that's from the state or from a conservation committee from the state that is like, yeah, we know how to address that. Then that might be the solution. I'm speculating. I don't know that because I haven't done any of that research yet, but I can assure you that we will. And we have Matt on it, Tammy's on it, I'll be on it. Liz is your point of contact. Just contact her at any time, and if you need to talk with one of us directly, she'll get us in touch with you.
Okay, thank you.
And Liz
Okay,
knows everything that's
I
going
hope
on.
that's
I don't know
fair.
what we do without her, but she basically holds this whole division together, so thank you, Liz. And like I said, we'd be more than happy to update you. And
But I hope that that's fair, Ellie. I mean, that's really the best that we can do at this point in time. And unfortunately, I wish, again, like Tammy said it perfectly, wish you could wave a magic wand and it's all taken care of, but it's just a more complicated issue than it appears on the surface.
plus we want to do it the right way. We don't want to rush into anything. Everything has to be done in a sequence. So we're willing to take those steps
Okay,
and go from there, okay? Thank you so much for coming, Ellie.
thank you.
You're very welcome. All right, so do we need to make a motion on that?
Yeah, because it's review, discuss, act.
Okay. So I think, Vinnie, we're probably gonna need a motion in order to take all those steps.
Mhm. Okay, so I can make a motion to address the Pleasant Street complaint and contact the homeowner as well and see if we can come to a resolution.
I step down and second that motion. Can I get a vote?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Okay, back in the category of old business, the town nurse status. So we just need to figure out where we are with this town nurse. We're so fortunate we have Melissa that's here, but is that something that we want to continue to explore? I believe we said like 1 to 2 hours a week. Do we want to still have that job posting available on the town's website?
I mean, if we're doing this, if this is, to me, like if this is a solution and, she's willing, Melissa's willing, I mean, can we go forward with this or?
Melissa's covering what, 6 towns?
Yeah, so I think we
Yeah.
probably still want to have a town nurse.
Okay.
Because I think if we don't fill it, it's probably gonna be taken away. And we'll lose that funding. So 1 to 2 hours a week, once we find, a nurse who can apply and is willing to work those hours.
Okay. I mean, as long as we have her, Melissa, in the, as a stopgap, right? So.
Right, she can fill in for now as long as she's not scheduled somewhere else in one of her other communities.
Okay.
But,
Okay, if we're gonna lose it, then, and, yeah, I mean, sure, I would agree with you, Tam. I would say, yeah,
can I get a motion on that?
motion to pursue, town nurse.
Okay, I step down and second that motion. Can I get a vote?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. All right, back on to new business, barn permit refunds. We need to figure out what we want to do, now that we're not going to be using the barn permits. We need to figure out, Liz, how many people did we have that actually paid for barn permits?
I posited 4 checks.
4
And then
checks,
I have 3 downstairs that I'm just gonna mail back to the homeowner.
Liz, you're gonna know this better than me because I'm so new. Is this easy to do, to get refunds for them? Like, how is the process?
It's not ideal. So if these people, they don't have any other permits. No, I don't think so. If they have a stable permit, I could say, hey, let me a stable permit escape for next year, don't pay for it.
Right.
But if they have nothing else, then I have to ask Serena to cut them a check.
Okay, so, I mean, I think it should be done because it's unfair for those 4 people. Thankfully, it was only 4 people and not 24 people or 34 people. It's just gonna be much easier to do. But I mean, if we're not using bond permits, it's not fair that we're taking people's money,
Mhm.
and, you know, putting it in the account and sorry, that's almost actually a crime.
Could we just send it to him as a matter of course with a letter saying, you know, barn permits are no longer required by the town. Here's your refund check. No one's gonna say no to money. I wouldn't.
Oh, right, I mean, I think it's fine to do, I was just asking basically how the process would be to get those funds mailed back to each person. So I didn't know how it was, you know, for the town. I just wanted to make sure that we didn't run into any problems. I mean, we shouldn't because we're not, you know, we didn't enact the bond permit, so it's not fair to those folks, so.
Agree. Yep.
All right, so can I get a motion to get that refunded to the 4 individuals and mailing back? Liz said she had 3 applications downstairs with checks attached.
Yep. So I'd make a motion for barn permit refunds.
Okay, I step down and second that motion. Can I get a vote?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. All right, we have something very important on this new business area, and that is the signature authorization form, adding Vincent Hebert.
Oh, boy.
So yeah, it's just in the event that I'm not available and payroll needs to be signed until Barbara comes back. Right now, I'm the only person.
Okay.
Sometimes it's difficult with my schedule on a Monday morning to get here because it has to be done before 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock Monday morning.
Yeah, it has to be before 10 o'clock. So sometimes my schedule doesn't allow and I'm really scrambling to get here. So maybe
No problem,
if you add your name, that would be amazing.
Okay. No
Okay.
problem.
So can I get a motion on that?
Motion to give me signature authorization. How's that?
Perfect. I step down, I second that motion. Can I get a vote?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
You should ask Matt if you can do this time Friday or Saturday, and you can just come in and sign it.
Okay. Matt, are you still there? You may not be.
Yes, sorry.
Oh, sorry. Matt, is there any chance that I can meet you on a Friday or a Saturday when you're done, just before your shift ends? So I can sign your time card, just to make it a little bit easier?
Yeah, I mean, I can leave it. Yeah, I can figure it out. for you.
Yeah, between the two of us, we can figure out, you know, a time and whatnot, just so I can get that signed, and it might make things a little bit easier for Monday mornings.
Yeah,
because
I can,
time card gets the signature and gets handed in on time, so there's no delay in payment.
yeah, either Friday or Saturday, I'll just give you a call and I can catch up with you.
That's perfect.
That's fine.
Perfect. Okay, any items not reasonably anticipated within 48 hours? Do we have anything? We don't have
No,
any.
the only question I'd have on the signature authorization is, Liz, can you use my stamp until I get back?
No, not on payroll or billing.
So would you just send me a PDF and I send it back?
No, she wants originals. So you have to be there. When are you coming back to Massachusetts?
Well,
Are you coming back?
well, I'm coming back. I told Tammy I might actually be coming back sooner than we anticipated. We were gonna start heading back May 27th, but it might be sooner than that. It's a family issue that kind of monitoring right now. I told Tammy, and I'll tell you, Liz, is like if we do, it could be next week, you know. I don't know at this point. It's my father. My father he's almost 92 years old and he's in the hospital, and
Oh, no.
we don't know where that's going to go right now. It's not like he's not on his deathbed or anything, but he's 92. And
Yeah.
It's difficult.
yeah, it's tough. You know, I have 5 other brothers and sisters, so they're all pitching in and helping out. My mother's still alive, so I'll see where that goes. If I come back, I'll let you and Tammy know like, right away that
That's perfect.
it's gonna take me 2 days to come back. But unless it's something really is serious, and then I'd be on a plane and back there. But
Sure.
so
Okay.
I would count on like May 27th right now. But anything sooner than that, I'll let you know.
All right, perfect. Any public input? No? All right, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Oh, meeting
Oh,
minutes.
sorry, review minutes. I'm sorry, I'm jumping here. Thank you, Liz. See, you really hold us together. All right, so we need to approve minutes, meeting minutes from 2:18, 2:27, and 3:10. Can I get a motion to approve those minutes?
Motion to approve minutes from 2:18, 2:27, and 3:10 from 2025.
Okay, I step down and second that motion. Can I get a vote?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. All right, we need to schedule our next meeting.
That would be April 22nd. If Tuesday still works for Matt, then we can leave it on Tuesday, but
Matt, does that sound okay to you? April 22nd, we doing 4 o'clock? 4 o'clock. 4
Yeah,
o'clock?
that should be okay.
Okay, so the next meeting is April 22nd, 4 PM. Perfect. Can I get a motion for adjournment?
Motion to adjourn.
I step down, and second that motion. Can I get a vote?
Aye.
Aye, motion, sorry. A little tongue tied. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Meeting
everyone.
adjourned. Thank you all. Bye.
Thanks, Sue. Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Vinnie. A little tongue tied.